The movie starts with a girl named Futaba Yoshioka. She tries to hide her pretty side to fit in with her classmates. She pretends not to like the noisy boys in her class. But actually, she's quite popular. Because she always said she didn't like boys, her classmates paid attention to another beautiful girl named Yuri Makita. But Yuri got bullied by jealous girls because she was so pretty. Even though Futaba is friends with Yuri, she doesn't bully her. One day, while walking with her friends in the school corridor, Futaba bumps into a guy who reminds her of Tanaka. She thinks it's him and chases after him. It turns out he really is Tanaka, her first love from junior high school. But there's another guy behind her, and they call him Tanaka Mabuchi. So Futaba thinks she made a mistake, even though she's sure Mabuchi is Tanaka. When she gets home from school, Futaba meets Tanaka again and chases him. He tells her he's now called Ku Mabuchi. Not only did his name change, but he also seems colder and more distant. Futaba remembers when they went to a summer festival in junior high, but Mabuchi never showed up and changed schools. Since then, she hadn't seen him until they accidentally met in the school corridor. One day when Futaba was buying bread in the school cafeteria, the cafeteria manager thought she hadn't paid and told her to pay up. But Futaba insisted she already paid. The woman didn't believe her and threatened to call security if she didn't pay. Yuri stepped in and said she saw Futaba pay for the bread. Mabuchi and his friend Iya Kaminetto also vouched for Futaba, saying they saw her pay. Even Futaba's classmate, Shuko Muro, defended her, even though she was far away. Finally, a cafeteria clerk confirmed that Futaba had paid. Because of this, Futaba became friends with Yuki and Shuko, and stopped being friends with girls who bullied others for being popular and pretty. Futaba felt sad about leaving her old friends, but Mabuchi comforted her and said they weren't real friends because they only liked her when she wasn't popular, so they wouldn't compete for romance. Soon, the school had a spring orientation, and each class had to choose a representative. Futaba wanted to make a change, so she volunteered to be the representative, and Yuri and Shuko joined her. When Shuko volunteered, Kaminetto also did and convinced Mabuchi to participate. In a nutshell, Futaba and her friends went to a camp for a spring orientation activity. She became close friends with Yuri, Shuko, and even Kaminetto, who was friends with Mabuchi. Kaminetto noticed that Shuko liked their English teacher, Mr. Tanaka, because she always tried to get close to him. When Futaba struggled to make a bonfire, a smart and helpful guy named Toma Kikuchi came to her aid. Toma was a class representative from another class and could explain the purpose of the spring orientation clearly to everyone. Futaba couldn't do that, so Mr. Tanaka asked her to write down the goal and submit it the next morning, which kept her up late. When she fell asleep from exhaustion, Mabuchi helped her complete the task. The next morning, they were all excited to see the sunrise. At school, Yuri confessed her feelings for Mabuchi, who had helped her during the camp. Futaba pretended not to like him, even though she secretly loved him. She tried to push her feelings away, but they only grew stronger over time. She eventually told Yuri the truth about her feelings to avoid misunderstandings. Yuri decided to give up on Mabuchi to preserve their friendship. With Yuri out of the picture, Futaba felt more at ease approaching Mabuchi, even though he still acted distant. Worried about him, she visited his house and was surprised to meet Mr. Tanaka. Mr. Tanaka revealed that Mabuchi was his younger brother and explained that Mabuchi had changed his name after their parents' divorce. Mabuchi's attitude had changed a lot since their mother's passing, and he felt guilty for not being able to take care of her. After learning about Mabuchi's situation, Futaba decided to find him and offer support to help him through his sorrow and sadness. She invited him to the summer festival, and he agreed. However, Mabuchi didn't show up on the day of the festival. When Futaba called him, she heard a girl's voice with him. The next day, she asked him why he didn't come, but he avoided answering. It turned out that Kaminetto and others knew that Mabuchi was close to a girl named Yu Narumi from junior high school. When Futaba saw Mabuchi at a fast food restaurant, she realized he was more interested in Yu, because he left immediately when Yu called him. This made Futaba sad because Mabuchi seemed more focused on other girls. Feeling down, Futaba was comforted by Toma, who happened to be there. They talked casually without knowing that Mabuchi was watching and getting jealous, because he actually had feelings for Futaba. Later, Mabuchi invited Yu to a school festival, and Futaba couldn't hide her jealousy. She tried to hold back her sadness. Soon after, Toma invited Futaba to watch a music show where his band would perform, and she happily accepted. This made Mabuchi even more jealous as he saw them getting closer. During a musical performance, Toma, who was on stage, called out Futaba's name, and everyone cheered because they thought Toma and Futaba were a couple. Mabuchi, who was there, suddenly felt jealous and rushed to Futaba. He wanted to whisper something to her, but Kaminato accidentally bumped into Mabuchi, causing him to accidentally kiss Futaba. Toma saw this from the stage and got jealous. Yui, who also saw it, left Mabuchi in a hurry. Mabuchi apologized to Futaba, saying it was unintentional, but Futaba was annoyed. She hoped it wasn't an accident, and that Mabuchi wanted to kiss her because she loved him. Mabuchi then explained that Yui had a similar family situation. Her parents divorced, and her father was in the same hospital as Mabuchi's mother. Yui's father had recently passed away, so Mabuchi felt responsible for supporting her. Yui had no one else in the world since her mother had remarried and started a new family, so she depended on Mabuchi a lot. Futaba, learning about this, went to Mabuchi and asked him to choose. Mabuchi couldn't give a clear answer because he wanted to be there for Yui, who was mourning her father's death. Meanwhile, Toma, who knew how much Futaba loved Mabuchi, could only offer her support. Later, Futaba got worried because Mabuchi hadn't come to school for a few days. She asked Yui to let him go, fearing that he would become more sad because of his mother's death if he continued to stay by Yui's side. However, Yui refused and insisted she would try to win Mabuchi's love and keep him by her side. When Futaba finally met Mabuchi again, she expressed her love for him, but he reluctantly refused to date her. Futaba seemed to accept this gracefully and asked to remain friends, but deep down, she was really sad about his rejection. On the flip side, Mabuchi actually wants to be with Futaba, but he's torn and worried about Yui. He meets Yui, who tells him she wants to become stronger and not depend on him or others. Yui seems willing to let Mabuchi go so he can find his own happiness. The next day at school, Toma confesses his love to Futaba. It's the first time someone has said they love her, so Futaba is surprised and doesn't know how to respond. Meanwhile, Mabuchi feels jealous of their closeness, but doesn't know what to do. Kaminato suggests that Mabuchi be more open about his feelings for Futaba, but Mabuchi is still concerned about Yui and doesn't want her to feel abandoned again. Kaminato cares deeply about his friend and wants to help him overcome his sadness. He's unsure how to do that until Shuko encourages him. Kaminato then comes up with the idea of a field trip to Mabuchi's hometown, where he can confront his past and move forward. When they arrived, Mabuchi remembered moments with his late mother and felt sad. But Futaba was always there to support and strengthen him. They visited a church where a priest revealed that Mabuchi's mother used to pray there, writing her prayers in a book. She always prayed for Mabuchi to find happiness and live a joyful life. This touched Mabuchi deeply, and he shed tears knowing how much his mother loved him. Meanwhile, Yui met Mabuchi and decided to give up on him to find her own happiness. She was determined to become stronger and independent. At the same time, Toma realized he should let go of Futaba, knowing she truly loved Mabuchi and could never forget him. Futaba discovered that Mabuchi had liked her since middle school. She confessed her love to him, and Mabuchi, realizing he didn't need to hide his feelings anymore, reconciled with her. They started dating. So the moral of the story is sometimes you've got to kiss the wrong person accidentally to find the right one. And don't forget to bring bread to prove your innocence along the way.